1975, AC 55 House of Lords, Hyam v DPP. Hyam had been in a relationship with Mr. Jones. When the relationship ended, Mr. Jones began a relationship with another woman, Mrs. Booth. The defendant Hyam became jealous of her ex-boyfriend's new fiancée Ms. Booth. Hyam drove to Mrs. Booth's house at 2 a.m. She poured petrol through the letterbox and ignited it with matches and newspaper. She then drove home and did not alert anyone of the incident. Mrs. Booth and her young son managed to escape the fire, but her two daughters were killed. The defendant was charged with murder. The judge directed the jury that the mens rea for murder would be established if they believed the defendant was aware that it was highly probable that the fire would cause death or serious bodily harm. If you are satisfied that when the accused set fire to the house she knew that it was highly probable that this would cause death or serious bodily harm, then the prosecution will have established the necessary intent. The jury convicted Hyam of murder. The conviction was upheld by the Court of Appeal. The appellant appealed to the House of Lords on the grounds that knowledge that a certain consequence was a highly probable consequence does not establish an intent to produce that result and not sufficient intention for murder. Issues in Hyam v DPP. Did Hyam have the requisite intention to commit murder? Did the mens rea of intention require an intention to kill or only a foresight of a serious risk of death or serious bodily harm being caused? Decision, outcome of Hyam v DPP. The appeal was refused. The appellant's conviction for murder was upheld by 3-2. There was no misdirection. A person has the requisite mens rea for murder if they knowingly committed an act which was aimed at someone and which was committed with the intention of causing death or serious injury. It was held that intention could also exist where the defendant knew there was a serious risk that death or serious bodily harm will ensue from his acts and he commits those acts deliberately and without lawful excuse with the intention to expose a potential victim to that risk as the result of those acts. It does not matter in such circumstances whether the defendant desires those consequences or not. It did not draw any distinction between the state of mind of one who does an act because he desires it to produce a particular evil consequence, and the state of mind of one who does the act knowing full well that it is likely to produce that consequence although it may not be the object he was seeking to achieve by doing the act.